Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Emma if you're new here. So today is a very highly anticipated, highly requested video, and that is my college application stats, meaning my test scores, my GPA, extracurriculars, AP tests, just everything that I put into my application and how it got me into some pretty good schools. And don't forget to like this video if you enjoy my college series. Subscribe down below so you don't miss my next video where I tell you where I'm going to school, and hit the bell notification so you can know exactly when I upload and you don't miss any of my videos. If you want to see my stats, then just keep on watching. Alright, so starting off, I'm going to tell you guys everything about my 4 years at high school, including GPA, classes, that kind of thing. My GPA unweighted was a 3.78 and weighted it was a 4.30. I was ranked second decile, I think that's what they call it. It's like second out of 780 people. I took 7 honors classes, 8 AP classes, 4 years of a language. I took Spanish, 2 years of choir, 1 year of yearbook, or like principals and superintendent's honor roll for 4 years, 8 semesters. Well, not 8 because I technically haven't gotten the last semester, but you know, basically I've been on honor roll the entire high school career time. And for testing, I had a 32 ACT without writing, a 29 with writing. I didn't take the SAT, but I did take the PSAT once and I got a 1290. Wasn't very good. But I took the ACT 5 times. The first time I got a 23, the second time I got a 27, the third time I got a 32, and then I got a 28, and then I got a 29. Strange, right? Yeah, I'll get into it in a second. Now for my long, absurd list of extracurricular activities. If you guys are new to my channel, I moved from Ohio to California the summer between my sophomore and junior year, so I spent 2 years at the old high school and 2 years at this high school. So for my old high school, I had a lot different extracurriculars than I do at my new one. At my old one, I was in choir for 2 years, involved in theater, I did makeup crew, and then I was a cheerleader. I was on varsity for football, and then I also did competition cheerleading, which is considered a varsity sport as well, so I had 2 varsity letters. Also at my old school, I was in a club called FDOA, which stands for Future Doctors of America, and then finally I was in Link Crew my sophomore year. So that's everything that I did at my old school. And then when I moved to California, my interests just kind of shifted completely. So when I got to California, I applied for NHS, didn't get in junior year, but I got in this year. So I have 1 year of NHS. I joined a club called Blankets of Hope, which is where, you know those like kind of fleecy, soft blankets that like are the knots, like you cut them in strips and then you tie the knots? Well, we make those during lunch and then they go to sick kids in hospitals, so it's just like a fuzzy little blanket that they can have. So I did that for 1 year. For the past 2 years, I've been in a club called Team Zisu Global, I think that's the full name, but basically it's an environmental club, and some of the things that the club has done is they've implemented like reusable water bottles into our cafeteria, and it's called Just Water, which is actually Jaden Smith's brand, and he like has been to our school district and met with the people who founded the club, so that's really cool. We get to work with him. But we've done that, planted trees around campus, beach cleanups, you know, stuff like that, just trying to like raise awareness for the environment because we do live so close to the ocean and we want to keep our marine life healthy and safe. I have been in a club called CSF, which is called California Scholarship Federation. It doesn't really do anything, honestly. The whole reason I did it is because you get a stole at graduation, and I just want to be like decked out. This past year was actually really cool because I started my own club, and it's called Future Medical Leaders. I was inspired to start this club after I went to 2 medical conferences over the summer, and I just felt like we were missing kind of a medical club because so many kids in my school are, oh, I want to do pre-med, I want to go into biomedical engineering, I want to do this, that, whatever. And I just like, there weren't any clubs for it. So I just started my own. It's been pretty difficult, but it's also been fun to like teach people about what I've learned on my like pre-med journey, and like some advice that I have for people wanting to do the same exact thing as me, or different, you know. So like I said, I went to 2 medical conferences over the summer, And honestly, they were a big part of my application. The first one was in Boston, and it was like right by Harvard. It was really cool. We got to stay in Boston. So we stayed there for 3 days, like from 8 a.m. in the morning to like 9 or 10 at night. We heard really influential people in the medical field speak and tell their stories, show us their work. And it was like people our age and then people like super old. And it was just so cool. It was like people who had survived things like victims. Like there was one lady who had industrial grade lye poured on her, and her whole like all her skin was melted off, and she was like the first recipient of a facial transplant in the US. So she spoke to us and was like so inspiring. And then we heard from the doctor, we heard from emergency medicine doctors, we heard from Nobel laureates, and that was like super inspiring for me because he was talking about neurodegenerative disease, which is what I want to go into. It really inspired me. And then a few weeks later, I went to UW at Seattle, where I'm trying to decide whether I want to go or not. But I went there for like 9 days, like a little over a week. That was really cool because we got to meet like firefighters, EMTs, we got to meet flight nurses. It was so cool. So we learned about like different medical things, but then it was also about like leadership. It was just like about finding how your personality works with other people's. And the people that I met there were just so awesome. Like I made so many friends that I still talk to almost a year later. And it was really like inspiring, like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I wrote a lot about that in my application, and it kind of just reaffirmed my passion for medicine. So I talked about that in my essays. Also, in my free time, I tutor kids, I tutor after school, just kind of like helping. I really like helping kids understand like math and science. And then for jobs, my sophomore year when I was still in Ohio, I worked at a restaurant and I was a server for a couple months before I moved. For the past 2 years, I've been an intern at a financial planning firm, and it's actually my parents' company, so it's pretty convenient for me. So that is everything that was on my application. Now for the things I would have done differently. Starting out with like school GPA, I definitely would have focused more on getting better grades. There's that. As for testing, I never took the SAT and I kind of regret it. I wish I would have taken that just to see if I would have done better on it as opposed to the ACT. Also, for the ACT, I told you guys I took it 5 times, and so I took the first 2 times with writing, and then the third time I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to take it again anyway, so why would I take the writing just because like I didn't want to be there. I was being lazy. So I was like, okay, I won't take the writing. I probably won't get the score that I want anyways. I ended up getting a 32, which was the highest score that I got, and I didn't have the writing for it. So it was like super upsetting because I couldn't use that score for any of the UC schools, which means UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC San Diego, Santa Barbara. Yeah, so I had to use a 29 when really I had scored a 32, so it was just like super frustrating because I knew I was higher than what I could send in and what they could evaluate. So that was super frustrating, and my advice would be to always take it with writing, whether it's SAT or ACT, just always take it with the writing so that way it'll count towards your score. Okay, now for the actual applications, I wish that I would have started sooner. I was just super overwhelmed the entire time I was applying because I hadn't written any of my essays. I didn't know like what I was doing with extracurriculars yet. I hadn't gotten my ACT with writing. So I was just super stressed out, and I had all this stuff to do in like a 4-month period, like exhausting. So what I would recommend is to write all your essays this summer before your senior year. And for my extracurriculars, this is like one of my biggest mistakes, I think. I went kind of quantity over quality, and colleges, they don't want a well-rounded student, they want a well-rounded class. So they want one student who's really good at a really specific thing, so that way they can plop them in their class and say, okay, we have this, this. I tried to be well-rounded, whereas I should have just focused on things that were really important to me. Oh my gosh, I forgot to talk about YouTube. For example, YouTube was probably one of my biggest extracurriculars, and I talked about how I had done it for 5 years, how I had grown a lot, made a lot of videos, made friends, gotten free product from companies. I talked about that kind of stuff, and I wish I would have spent less time doing like link crew and volunteering and more of investing my time into YouTube and putting out more videos, because that would have been much stronger than me volunteering in 5 clubs. Those are all the things that I wish I would have done differently. I hope that helps you guys somehow if you're going to be applying. But if you guys have any questions, please comment down below. You guys have been so helpful with like learning more about UC Davis and UW and helping me decide. So if you have any information or you go to either of these schools, please let me know your experience. I'm just curious for everybody's input. I think it helps me out so much. And thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have been awesome these past couple of days. My channel has grown immensely, and it's so fun to get to interact with you guys, and because there's so many people, and it's just like what I love about YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting my channel, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!